welcome to this session. Natalie, would you like to go first?
Yes, I would. Okay, so my first question is about the C maps.
Uh-huh.
Like,
So, what are they and why do we do them?
yeah,
So, C maps is pretty much our ideas. So the first one that you see on there, the very middle one, for me, that's what we talked about, but when the branches stem out, those are my ideas and how they connect to what we were talking about. And so for the C maps, yeah, it's pretty much our ideas about what we were talking about and some of the things that we think about related to our country that we created. So me for Cambodia, when we were talking, for example, about the Millennium Goals, I had ideas about how my own country has implemented those. So that's how I use the C maps. And so did that answer your question?
yeah, it does.
All right. Mother Lisa.
All right. So I had a question about how women can get out of the situation that they're in. Like, what options do they have to get out of? Because they seem to be in a pretty terrible situation there.
Oh yeah. It's actually improved, and in most countries, women don't even have some of the stuff Cambodia does, which is kind of sad since you're looking at all the really sad thing that's happening in my country. You can't think that something will ever be worse than that. But they're actually doing pretty well because the service sector that they're in, they were rating them according to how much women are in the workforce and what percentages are in the workforce. And they're actually doing pretty good if you look at the bullet points in the Millennium Goals. It's goal 3. But how can they improve on their situation? Let's see. So in class, we actually came together with a group, and we talked about our countries and how we're all doing according to that, in our own separate countries, and then we came together and came up with a solution to that problem. And I actually think that it's true what we came up with. One thing is to create awareness for them. So just ads and all that kind of stuff. Tell them that there's more out there than what they know. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And encourage them to get schooling, because schooling is everything. I guess when I was taking this class, it was kind of crazy because I didn't really realize that the root of all the problems is because every single problem that all the countries have is because they aren't educated, either about that topic or just in general. So another thing that we said is that they need to be educated about the things, they don't understand that maybe there is a life out there and it's more than just, I don't know, being in the home. So that's another thing that they can do, is educate themselves. So another way women can improve their situation, there was a story and we watched a video about it, how this girl in a country, she wasn't able to go to school because the fee was too much to enroll. And there was this charity company in, I think, the US, I don't know which state, but they sent 2 goats and they sold it to their family. And those 2 goats were able to produce milk and other such things, and they were able to get more money through that. And then those goats reproduced, and they were able to sell other goats for more money, and the girl got to be enrolled in school, which was really great. And after that, like, she was just excelling in school, and she was one of the first, I don't know if it was in her village or in her country, but she was one of the first to get a scholarship for actually, like, getting to go to the US. And she graduated, I don't know where she graduated, but she was the first in her family to do that. And she said, thanks to 2 goats, I got schooling. And she's been able to help people in her country ever since. So just having a financial opportunity is another way for women to improve their standing in other countries and in Cambodia. Did you get that?
Yep. Yep.
All right.
Okay. Okay. So my next question is, why is Cambodia ranked 135?
Cambodia is ranked 135 in, like, the poll for all of the countries in the world. And that is because of their, like, overall situation according to the Millennium Goals. So, like, 35, they're 35. I don't know how out of how many countries, but it's from, like, 1 is the highest, and 35, that's where we are. And that is because they, like I said, with the Millennium Goals, they haven't reached, like, I guess, the standard yet. Especially, like, when you compare Cambodia to the US, obviously, like, the US is a lot more wealthy, and Cambodia is more poor of a country. So that's why Cambodia is lower, and that's why it's also 35. Wait, is it 135, right? Yeah, it's 135. So that's kind of low. Anyway, what was the next question? Or did that answer your question?
Mom's next question is, what, in your opinion, is the worst problem in Cambodia? So, in other words, if they could solve one problem to help their country, what do you think that would be?
I think that the one thing that can improve our country, or my country, I keep on saying our country just because it's my country, and then I just tag our along with it. Anyway, I think the biggest one that needs to be improved is the biggest one that needs to be improved, because there's not a lot on it, is to develop a global partnership for development. But that's because there's not so much to talk about for Cambodia, because they haven't really gotten that far along. But something that they can improve on more, that I think, is they should improve in, I think it's primary education, because when the child has the opportunity, they realize the potential that they have through schooling, and when they get schooling, they can help their families, and they can empower others. So I think that's the biggest one for me that they should try to improve on, is to keep the kids in school, because they have a really good enrollment rate, but it's really hard for them to retain those kids throughout the years, because the parents don't think that their kids are learning anything, so they're just taking them out. So another thing that they should work on is schooling everyone, pretty much, because, the parents are the ones that say their kids can go to school. So the parents need to know that if they put their kids in school, they'll be better off. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Alright, what was the next one?
Okay, my last question was, what has helped the poverty go down?
The thing that would help poverty go down is government help and also like charity help. Just because I don't know if people can help their living situations without a boost from other people like charities and through the government, which is not a good thing. In the US, we don't want to rely on the government, but in some places I actually think that it's okay. But charity work mostly because, I don't know, I don't think that the government should run everything. And also, another way to reduce poverty is, again, to educate. Because when people are educated, they learn more about life and trade and maybe technology, so they can improve and enhance their situation and others around them. And does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
Sweet. Is there another one?
Well, my last question was, what do you think can be done to help the poverty level go down even more than it already has?
Yeah. Well, what to help it even more? Let's see. To help it even more, I think that has to start from within the country. Because I said that the government and charity work has most to do with jump-starting the problem with poverty. So yeah, that's pretty much my answer for that, is that they need more charity work and education. So does that answer that?
Yes.
Alright. So that's your 3 questions, right?
Yep.
So now I'm going to teach you about the 8 Millennium Goals and what they are, who developed them, and why. So the UN, the United Nations, which was formed, I think, after World War II, something like that. Anyway, they came together and they looked at everyone's situation, and they wanted people to have an equal opportunity, I guess, the pursuit of happiness. And so they created 8 goals for each country to create their own goal to fulfill by 2015. And just a sec. So explain that. Okay, I'm going to teach you about so the first goal is to eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. The second one is to achieve universal primary education. The third one is to promote gender equality and empower women. 4 is to reduce child mortality. 5 is to improve maternal health. 6 is to combat HIV and AIDS and malaria and other diseases. And that's another thing that I think every place can work on, every country. But we were talking about in my social problems class that there's, prostitutes and those kind of things, and like the people who, buy the woman, they don't really care for HIV and AIDS. Like, maybe they care to get it, but they don't really care to try to prevent it because they're trying to satisfy their needs. And it's kind of sad, but some girls are paid more to not use, like, preventives. So they're paid more to, like, go into sex without being protected. So I think that's really sad. What? What'd you say?
I said, yeah, that is really sad.
So, I don't know what can be done about prostitutes. I mean, you can enforce the law on them, but yeah, it's their personal choice to be promiscuous, I guess. Is that the right word?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, going on. Goal number 7 is to ensure environmental sustainability. And goal number 8, the last one, is to develop a global partnership for development. And so every country has to meet those goals that they've put for themselves. It's realistic, and I'm actually pretty proud of my country because in some of these, they've exceeded their target that they first set. And so they have to make another target that's even more so than the target that they set before. So I'm pretty proud of them. I mean, it makes me happy that, they're improving. It makes me want to cry, But I won't, because I'm on camera. Okay. So the third thing I'm supposed to teach you guys is how well my country is doing in each goal. So for the first goal, eradicating extreme poverty and hunger, let's see, it was reduced from 47% in 1993 when I was born to 30% in 2007, and they've exceeded that target, which was 29%, so they did it by 1%. Let's see. Goal number 2 is to achieve universal primary education. The primary enrollment rate for 2009 and 2010 are 92% and 94%. And they wanted to have every child has a chance in all the country to have an education, and they have fulfilled that. But so every child has a chance, but it doesn't mean that every child will do it. So that's really sad. Let's see. The gender partiality in schools is 72%, so men exceed over women, so it's uneven. So that goes to the second one is promote gender equality and empower women. And in my country, it is still considered appropriate for a woman to stay in a house and work and not concern themselves with education. So, I don't know. I don't know what I think about that. I guess it's in their culture to not really care, but for me as like a US citizen, I'm glad that I had education. So I really want them to do it, so then they have a chance. So what do you guys feel about that? Do you guys feel like I don't know, it's up to them to do it, or do you think that everyone should have a chance?
Well, I think everyone should be able to have a chance to have an education. What takes us helps, helps us to achieve things. So I just, without an education, it's really hard to not be stuck in the same situation as your, maybe your parents or your grandparents or whatever. So.
Yeah, I agree on that. This is another thing that in our class we came together in groups and we came up with ways for kids to get an education. And what my group came up with is that, like, people who have excelled in life in their country, I think that they should have, I don't know what it is, like an inspirational devotional or something like that, where those people who are successful talk about how it has improved their life and what their life was before, and just bring on a whole new meaning of education. And I think that that's a big thing, and I think it will empower, like, parents to let their kids go to school, so then their kids will have a better situation than they have, because parents want better things for their kids than what they've had,
Yeah.
Do you guys think that's a good idea, or is there a better way, do you think?
I think it's a great idea. Yeah.
I mean, would you guys be empowered if you heard of someone who, like, if you put if you put yourself in their shoes, do you think that you would be excited to hear about someone who excelled in life because of education?
I think it's like anything. Some people will be excited and some people won't.
Oh, that's true.
Care too much about it. But they're comfortable with where they are.
That's true. I guess I didn't really think about that because some people are just complacent with what they have.
Yeah.
So there's other ways, but that was our way. But I think that's another thing that can promote gender equality among women. But in my country, women, the percentage of women in the workforce is, are you still there?
Yeah, it was cutting out, but it's okay
Okay.
now.
The gender equality, like in the agricultural department, the woman in there is like 56%, and in the industry it's 44%. So I'm pretty proud of them there. I mean, they're pretty much rating up with the men and women in the workforce. So I'm happy about that. And I'm also happy that we're almost done.
The other goals, but
What?
the other goals, but how are they doing?
Yeah, I'm getting there. So reducing child mortality, that's goal 4. In 2008, 1 out of 20 babies died before their first birthday. And in 1998, one baby out of 10 died, so, they're improving a lot more, and that's only in a decade, so, again, I'm really proud of them. I think babies are so cute. I just think of Nathan and Dylan, and I would be so sad if they died. So I think that every baby needs a chance to live. So goal number 5 is to improve maternal health. Maternal mortality is still very high. The ratio is 461 deaths per 1,000 live births. Yeah, 100,000. Sorry, I didn't read that right. But I think that might be a typo on my part. So I'll just change that. Sorry for the misinformation.
So half of the ladies died?
Somewhat, yeah. I mean, I can't really find really reliable websites. And every single time I find a fact about it, it changes with another website.
Yeah.
So, and this one wasn't really that reliable, but I did find a website that I'm going to, I just actually found it today in class. In my social problems class, we went through these kind of things. It's the CIA.com or something like that. They have every country's like situation pretty much with all the Millennium Goals. So I'm just gonna look through that and then I'll relay that information back to you because I don't think this one is right. But yeah, I know it is still pretty high. And what's kind of alarming is that you would think the US would be improving, like with child mortality and maternal mortality, but we're actually, I think we might be 15 or under, so we're not even in like the top 10 who have improved in those goals, which is kind of sad. So, and I think that we're maybe because it's like the mindset that I was born in, but I always thought that we would be one of the highest ones, but I guess it's put me in my place knowing where we actually are.
Maybe we don't need to improve too much more.
What?
Maybe our rates are high that we don't need to do a lot of improvement. Like some of these countries need a lot of improvement.
Yeah, so it's still alarming, but other countries need it more than we do. I already told you about Goal 6 in my country. Like, it's doing pretty good, but the problem is, prostitution. They don't really want to change. And in fact, they get money for not, being safe. So, they need to work on that. Goal number 7 is to ensure environmental sustainability. I'll just read the quote. In the area of conservation and protection of natural resources, the country has experienced both losses and modest gains. So forests cover about 57%, and but the minimum percent which they're trying to get to is 60. And the reasons for that is illegal logging and land concessions. And there's a low number of rangers protecting the forests. But on the upside to that is there are governmental groups, I guess, like that are promoting, save the forest and be a Lorax type of thing. So it's growing more and more, so they have had some losses and gains. And goal number 8 is to develop a global partnership for development. They haven't set official goals on that yet, so it was really frustrating to try and find it, because they just said, we don't really know our goals, we don't think, they said that they have, pretty much what they're doing well in, considering, global partnerships, is, imports and exports that they have. I know that they export a lot of, rubber stuff to make tires and all that kind of crap. So, that's pretty much it. One of the things I don't think they need, like for finishing our discussion and critiquing our goals, is that I think most of them are needed, except maybe the global partnerships on my part, like on Cambodia's part, because they're not really doing well on that anyway. And maybe like the global sustainability too, because I think they're doing pretty well with keeping their forests. It's covering half their land. What do you guys think? Do you think they're needed?
Good question. Yeah, when I was hearing the environmental sustainability numbers, I was thinking, wow, that's really good that they're up so high. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure each one of these things is needed, but some less than others. So,
Yeah. So yes. Yeah, I agree with you. One things that I'm glad they're keeping is child mortality and education, maternal mortality. Those things are really needed to keep their population going and make them smarter. And having those things also reduces everything else that they're having, like their problems. So, that's pretty much it. I guess thanks for talking with me. I know
well,
it's.
thanks for teaching us about Cambodia.
What?
Thanks for teaching us about Cambodia.
Was my website helpful?
Yes, it was.
It was?
Yes.
Were you really confused about anything, or was it well laid out?
When we were looking, the thing that we were confused about is the CMAP.
Oh, yeah.
But Natalie asked you to help explain, so.
Yay! I'm so glad. Okay.
Yeah, so.
Alright, thanks for talking with me. Thanks, Natalie. Thanks, Mama.
Yes, thank you.
I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.